Oh yeah, we got to drop our pen. Here we are again.
Here we are again. Off on a new, what do we call it, tangent? Side road?
Venture.
Okay, something like that.
Foolishness.
Your part.
Yeah, that's my part.
To just get started, we've discovered a book called the Atlantic Guardian magazine.
Yeah.
So, published in 1952, October. And there's a feature in this magazine about Springdale. And there were some interesting pictures. And my co-host there tonight, he's from Springdale, so he's kind of our historian.
That's me.
That'll be. He's our historian, so we're going to go through those pictures, and everybody information we're going to give is not necessarily correct, but we would really appreciate if someone
When
would
we're wrong,
correct
let
us.
us know we're wrong.
When Rob is wrong,
We're not very often wrong.
when Rob is wrong, let us know that he's wrong.
Yeah. But don't let Terry know.
Just make a comment onto it, and hopefully we get everything all straightened out for everybody.
Yeah. We're putting this also on our CC3 pastime videos. Even though these are not videos that were done by our community channel, we felt where it was relating to the past, that it would be nice to probably put it on that channel so people can still look at it in a historical type of form.
Most certainly. Now, Rob, there's one thing I got to mention.
What's that, my son?
You've grown.
Yeah, look, we're little.
When we were on CC3, you used to have to use, remember the Newfoundland Retriever, the phone book? In order to get up to get the same shot, Rob sat on the phone book.
I was always below him.
He was a retriever.
And now I'm caught up to him. Anyway, back to our project.
Okay, it's back to our project.
Yeah.
That's enough.
So what you're going to see is a series of pictures, and we'll be commenting on them.
Yeah, there'll be a series of pictures, and you'll be seeing the pictures, and hopefully you won't be able to see us no more in the video until the end, probably.
When we say the end.
We'll see how it goes anyway. So our first picture, Rob, what do we have?
Well, this one's explains the article somewhat. It's just a picture of Springdale Waterfront, and down in the corner you'll notice Boomtown of the North. So it's a picture of the waterfront. Some of the buildings are pretty interesting. Down here you see where the cursor is. That's Warr's, I believe, was it?
I don't think they're going to see the cursor, see?
No? Oh, yes, they will. Won't they, Mr. Producer? They'll see the cursor going around the picture?
Not necessarily.
Oh, in case you don't see the cursor, in the bottom, sort of left of your screen, the first building is actually Warr's.
Oh, the one with the ramp going out to it?
The one with the ramp going out to it. There you go.
So would that be where their mill is too, just beyond that? No. No, that's not a mill there, no.
No, that would probably be more of a storage. Although it looks to me like the mill is out right in the,
To the left.
far left, because you can see where they roll the logs out. It looks like on a
Oh, it says skids, yeah, I can see
yeah,
it.
it says skids there.
Okay. And up above you see a building with 2 windows in the end and 3 windows in the front. We are assuming that that may be the location of what is now was the Green Bay Wholesalers. Don Wheeler had a place there, I believe, before that.
That's right. And this would be the water, or what's now the government wharf, we're thinking. Again, correct us if we're wrong.
Yes. Okay.
There's a view of the hill.
Look at all the poplar trees that were around in them tall poplars. They were pretty fat.
Would that have been, 1952, that would have been long after the
that's
fire,
gone.
of course, yeah.
That hill is gone there now.
Yeah. And let's move on.
Move on to the next one.
Okay.
How would you get to Springdale back in 52?
Yes. Interestingly, if you were to travel, if Joey Smallwood wanted to come to Springdale, how would he get there? He would have had to come
Train to Badger.
Springdale Rapid Transit Company to South Brook. Now, if you don't know what that is, that was a taxi service basically operated by, I believe, Warr's at the time. And they were using some of the older cars. And from there, you took the SS Springdale to
Okay, so they transported you to Badger, from Badger to South Brook.
Yep.
And then by boat to Springdale.
By boat to Springdale.
Quite the journey.
Quite the journey. This is a picture of the wharf, of course, but I can't say if that's one of the...
Well, that's the bottom picture there, yeah?
Yeah.
And that rock is the one there, was say, just as a general reference, behind the road that goes up along by the old Rift store.
Yes.
To the left of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, pretty cool.
Now, this is an overview of Springdale, of course. That would have been taken from up on the hill back of Tim Hortons, maybe. Was Tim Hortons now?
Yeah, somewhere up there in that.
It's just an overview of Springdale. It's kind of pretty big place back then. It was indeed booming at that point, right? It was just the beginning of.
According to the book, a population of 1,500 or something.
Yeah,
I believe.
yeah. Now this is an interesting one.
This is a different one.
You see the truck going down Main Street, and in the back of the truck, there's.
Looks like either a water. I think it's a water line.
Yeah, because that was at the time that they were putting in the new water line. We'll get into that picture a little later, and we'll show you some picture of where they were actually digging the ditch by hands and things.
Okay, so what's in that picture now? We know that the building right in the center with the two windows,
Yep.
the white one, that is the old Bank of Nova Scotia.
It is,
Are we
indeed.
correct?
It's a two-story building. Yeah, pretty well in the center of the picture. And right in front of that is what's now the flower shop.
Which was
Correct?
Tucker's Restaurant.
Tucker's Restaurant, and I believe Brett's had it before that? Or would they have had it after that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. And I think this is Smith's on the other side of the road.
They're just beside the building, no
Yeah,
windows.
where you see the car on your left, just the nose of the car sticking out there, that's right by Adams and Sons.
Oh, Great Eastern Oil.
Great Eastern Oil as well, yeah.
Okay.
And across the road here is
Morgan's Hotel now is
yeah.
directly behind that one.
Yes.
That's this
There was
building with all the multiple roofs onto it.
I think that was Inders right there. Or was that Inders up here? Anyway, let us know.
Stands to be corrected.
And you can see, I believe you can probably see the church on this one, just see the steeple.
No, interesting thing, Springdale wasn't hooked up to the Trans-Canada at
That's
this
right.
point.
That's right.
The new road was being planned.
Actually, there's a picture right here of a car traveling into Springdale, which we are assuming is on the new road. And we were having a little bit of debate about that one, Terry, as well, because I was saying, and I'm usually right, that to the right there is the road to Little Bay, and I'm thinking that's the turn coming around Indian Falls.
But you know that when you go to Springdale next time, when you're coming out, you're going to look, see if
Of
that
course
hill,
I am.
if there's a hill going up from this.
Of course I am. And I'm going to say, Terry, I was right. But if I'm wrong, you won't hear from
I
me.
won't ever.
No.
I know. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's just how much stuff have changed in just our lifetime. Well, you're sure a lot older than I am. Right?
and that's where I lived all my life, basically. It was, up in Springdale. Actually, I lived within this picture. You can't very well pick out the house that I live in because there's a little bit in the back there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now then, Indian Falls.
Indian Falls. Yep.
Yep.
The famous Indian Falls.
Yes, sir.
And who's this person in the picture, Rob? With the lovely salmon.
Dr. Alexander, I believe. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir, you are right.
Right.
According to the text, Dr.
Yes. Oh, yes, look at that. I didn't even see the text.
Angus.
Yes, by.
Angus
I didn't know him by his first name,
Oh, yeah.
I was, too afraid of it for that. It was Dr. Alexander to me.
Beautiful
Yes,
salmon.
yes, sir. And thinking that if they had to measure that salmon, I wonder would it pass now?
Probably not.
No?
Well, it depends on if he was a short man.
That's true. That's true.
Oh,
Okay, now
we've got dignitaries.
We're into royalty now.
Royalty. I'm going to refer to the book because I can't see the text on there.
Okay. Actually, the Dr. Alexander is on here again, but he's not fishing this time.
No.
He's fishing for men.
We have got in that picture, seated left to right, Harvey Grant.
Harvey Grant, yeah.
Who's the mayor, Fred Jenkins, and Stuart Whitehorn.
Okay.
Standing left to right, A.P. Morgan.
Oh, well, would that have been the Morgan's Hotel?
Not
Proprietor?
the Dr. Morgan.
No.
No, that would be Will George.
Oh, yes, right on, sure.
I had
Will
to talk Newfoundlandese, and I was going to say Will George.
Will George, yeah. And-
Dr. Morgan would be,
Doc-
Captain Morgan. I mean, not
Oh,
Doctor, Captain Morgan.
yeah.
So it's A.B. Morgan, MHA, Green Bay.
Oh, yes.
William Daly,
Yeah, William Daly, yeah.
and R.W. Warr, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, would that have been Reg Warr?
That was
Yeah, probably so, yeah.
quite possibly.
And what did you say
And
the last guy?
Jonas Noble.
Jonas Noble, yeah.
Now Frank Oxter was supposedly there, but he's not in the picture. He's
Okay.
not included.
And
the top one on the left in the circle is
I don't think
Dr.
we're-
Angus Alexander,
Yeah.
native of Scotland. He was the town's. He opened the
I'm
hospital.
not sure
four-bed
we'll
hospital.
be into that picture, but right below is the Bank of Nova Scotia, which had recently opened, obviously.
Oh, and don't can't forget Nathan Oxter, Nathaniel Oxter.
Oh, Nathaniel, actually, yes, that's
the
right.
center picture there. He was the Secretary Treasurer of the Green Bay Memorial Hospital.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And down in the bottom is the Bank of Nova Scotia. Humble beginnings.
Yeah.
And we add, who was in the Bank of Nova Scotia at the time, right, when you was depositing your money?
I think it was Inkpin.
G.R. Inkpin
Yeah.
was the manager.
Yeah. And did I hear you say that's where you started your first barrel
That's
of
where I
money?
started my first barrel. It
Well,
wasn't barrel.
what is-
Yeah. Bert Troops on doing.
Yes, but
Miss E.J.R. Inder. Now I'm assuming
Okay.
that's probably akin to the Inders that are currently in Springdale now.
absolutely.
She
that
was the
would
ledger
be
keeper.
akin to me.
And W.D. Taylor was the teller.
WDT, yes. Well, I can remember when also Edgar Blanford worked there
Mhm.
in my day, we'll say.
But he used to write in your deposits.
Yeah.
Your withdrawals. It was all in pen on a little book.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Now,
This
yes.
one we might want some correction on.
Yeah. We're having a little bit of an argument over this one. You'll see there's a circle around the fire hydrant there. We were saying it's either Anstey's Lane, was it?
Down by next to the this and that fabrics.
Yeah.
Because there's a fire hydrant further down that lane now. He's not there on that corner where there's a parking lot to now.
Yeah. And I'm thinking it's the next road up along by 135 Main Street, the community church, going down by where the food bank is. Mercer's.
Quite
I'm
possibly.
thinking that could be Mercer's house there, which my grandfather owned, by the way, at one point, sold it to the Mercers. And that's going down that lane. But again, we're open to suggestions if you want to really get a racket going.
Yeah,
Hey, Derek?
that was an example of what the new water system
Yep.
was. They put into the hydrants and
Yeah, that was the
different
first
things.
fire hydrants, no doubt.
And down in the bottom right is it's
Yeah,
worth
that would
thinking
be our next picture. Yeah,
that this is heading up through Springdale, and those buildings are the Warr's buildings that were on the other side of the
yes,
road.
on the hillside of the road,
On the
not the
hillside,
water side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you noticed the crowd down in the ditch. No doubt was all dug by hand then, right?
I'm
And pretty
pretty
deep.
sure that my wife's father worked on that.
Yeah, that would
Down in
be
that ditch. So I guess
my
everyone
Uncle
took
Harry.
everyone took off a couple inches behind the other fella.
Yeah,
So
or he took the shovel, passed it back to the next fellow, and he took it back to back. No doubt.
Conveyor
But
system.
just imagine what they had to go through, all through town like that. I mean, and they, that was a water and sewer system at the time, wasn't it?
It cost. It was partially paid for by the town of South Brook.
Yeah, because at that time, Springdale and Southbrook were incorporated, I guess, together.
Yeah.
And they all operated under the same council.
$2 a month
Yeah,
per household for 20 years.
yeah. Imagine.
$480 each household had to pay, which was a grand sum of money at that time.
That's right. Yeah.
So
So, but that was interesting how because there was a bond at that time, right? So they basically had to pay off the bond. I guess.
$160,000 in bond that
Yeah.
they took out, and then the
Yeah.
yeah.
You
So
got
it was a major,
you got nothing for nothing.
pretty aggressive venture at that time.
Yes, it was indeed, and a pretty good council to get involved with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, our next picture is Springdale Hospital. Actually, that was probably just opened around that time, right?
Kitchen door was right there in the center of the hospital. That's where you go into to cook, where the kitchen was to.
Hmm.
And you had a building here. We're assuming it looks like a store.
Yeah.
Now I've heard the words Jenkins store tossed around a little bit here.
That would be my guess at it.
Okay.
Jenkins, I would think the guy that we seen in the earlier picture would have been the proprietor of that
Possibly, yeah.
that store.
Yeah, town leader.
Yeah.
Looks like they're just putting in a new window
Yeah.
in the back corner.
And
The scaffolds are up.
Interesting in front here, there's a fence going right along the front of the store. But we noticed just up a little bit to the right, there's a gate. So we're assuming that that's where they had to go into that gate to get to the store.
Yeah, a young fella there on a bike going to get a pouch of baccy for his grandfather.
Yeah. For sure. But then that place, of course, is closed down now.
Yeah.
So that was 52. So that hospital did almost about 70 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Anybody that's 73 years old now, there's a good chance that they're.
I
Born there.
was born in Grand Falls. I was born in 1951.
But there are some residents of Springdale.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
They would have been only like in their 70s, early 70s, yeah.
yeah.
All right, now this is a wonderful picture of Warr's.
Yeah, very
Store.
familiar building to anyone that's of age.
George Warr, and sign right up on top, George Warr Sunlight Soap. See that?
The old yellow
Right up
bar
top of the
soap.
screen.
Yeah.
And the kids, of course, are on their way, we would think, to get kerosene oil, or
Yeah.
what else would they have been? Not molasses in those cans, would it?
No, it
I
wouldn't be
don't-
too much molasses. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it'd probably be too heavy for a kid like that.
Yeah.
A jug of molasses.
Missy up there got her bike, throw it down on the ground. Didn't
Yeah.
hear it back then either.
And the little fellow going off with his hands full, 2 hands.
Yeah.
He probably got 2 bags of candy for 2 cents.
Yeah.
Huh? No, I can remember that place well. And Roy Billard, and Olive Paddock, she was at the time. Olive Roderick. Worked upstairs in the dry good department.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it was separated because there was a grocery type part on the left.
Right, yeah, there was Warr's Dry Goods too.
Yeah,
They put
and
into-
Warr's Dry Goods.
They put into a separate building after,
Yeah,
didn't they? Yeah.
yeah, they did. Yes, sir. And then we have a picture again of the waterfront.
Is this Warr's Mill?
I'm thinking this is Warr's Mill. Ship tied up there,
Loading lumber for somewhere.
no doubt, yeah. And you can see the piles of lumber in the front there.
Busy days.
Yeah, busy days indeed.
There was another builder at the same time.
T.J. Matthews
Yeah, Tim Matthews.
had a mill just up. Well, that little peak you probably see in the corner there could be a part of that mill.
You're going to hear a voice every now and then cut in that's our producer, director, IT man.
Yeah, it's our straightener upper.
Straightener outer, yeah.
When it goes round. And he's going to edit all this, so you better do a good job
He's
on
going to be a busy boy.
That's the advantage I got. I can cut myself.
it. And again, now this is a Jonas Noble's mill, we're thinking, right?
Okay, so
Actually,
recently
The text verifies that.
yes, the Collie Noble's family.
And yeah, that's quite a pile of lumber there, ready for market, obviously. Well, see, Springdale was building up around that time as well, so I would say there was quite a demand for local lumber.
He was supplying a lot of hardwood, a lot of birch.
Yeah,
Cutting the other side of South Brook.
yeah,
They said there was one of the biggest birch stands on the island that
Yeah,
they knew for
yeah.
at that time.
interesting.
A little fun fact there from the side.
Yeah, there is some use to that producer, right?
He's more than just a pretty face.
Now, there's a picture of the ship.
Don't know the name of her. Couldn't
No,
couldn't
discern the
zoom
name.
on her enough to figure
No.
out the name onto
There's
her.
a great picture of the hills. You notice how barren they are as well, eh? I guess after the fire they still weren't burned up.
No,
before
there's
it grows up.
this is probably not going to be factual, but
What?
there's behind England's Osale. There's a place where there was a landslide, and right in the centre of the picture,
Yep.
there is a place where the ground is
right
gone
there.
away.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's going to help centralise that picture. Or
Yes,
give
that's
you some
right.
idea.
We used to.
If it's the government wharf, it wouldn't be, because that'd be out in pub.
No, this
that
is
may
not.
not be the government wharf.
I'm thinking this is the wharf we seen down by Warr's. Remember we seen the ship tied up
Oh yes,
to the earlier?
right you are.
I think that's probably taken from the back of that ship, looking up into the harbour, because like you pointed out, that gulch we called it is there, because I grew up right next to that gulch, and we spent a good bit of time up there. That's the way we used to get up on the hill, go over around the sandy little trail
okay.
there, right?
Yeah.
There's a great picture here of a freshly built house. There's a story behind this one.
And the fun fact behind that house, It was the first one built using gyprock from Humbermouth.
Yes.
From the plant in
The
Humbermouth. Gypsum board.
Yeah. And that's Noble's house.
Graham? Am I correct in saying Graham Nobles?
Yeah.
Yeah. Graham
Right.
Noble's house.
Again, we stand to be corrected. We've been wrong occasionally. We don't want to admit it, but but that house is still standing now in Springdale, and in the exact shape it is there.
Is that right?
Okay, now we're into some interesting pictures. This is
Top one.
Springdale
Top picture.
Hotel. Again, did we figure out where that one was?
Well, we kind of bounced around looking at
Yeah.
the rocks and the cliffs and whatnot around it, and we kind of think it may be around in the area where used to be the Cadillac Lounge.
Yes, yeah. I think
So-
I think that's right too, because it might have been just next to that area, pretty well across from Warr's store, actually, I believe, at the time.
Okay, so what's some interesting things about that now? Who built that house?
Well, from what I can understand, John Matthews and
Lauren did the exploration,
yes,
the digging on that one, and he said that John Matthews built the house. Tim did most of the carpentry work.
Yeah,
It was his
right.
son. And you know where Tim lived in later years, because Queen, his wife, still lived there on the hill there, which was just by
right next
where
to
the
Lawton's.
drugstore. The
Yep.
drugstore, because they
Had a store
business
there
Yes,
at the time, a
yes.
business, and that the lane actually went between their new house and the business.
So if he built the house there,
Hmm.
then we can probably safely assume to say that
Yeah, that
he
was,
owned that property there somewhere around that
Yeah.
same area, right?
yeah, I think you're right,
So now then there was a Dr. Lidstone.
Dr. Lidstone.
He bought the house after, and we're assuming
Yeah.
that he turned it into a clinic because this
Yeah.
was pre-hospital.
Pre-hospital, that's right, when he bought that. And apparently after he died, his wife turned it back into a hotel again.
Yeah. You can see the sign up there and under that window on the
Yeah, right up top there's a Springdale Hotel.
And in the article, that's what they're promoting, because
Yes,
they're talking about the hotel accommodations that's in Springdale now in 1952.
that's correct. Because they're the purpose, some of the purpose of the article was to bring tourists to the area.
Sure.
Promoting Springdale.
And we also have another hotel, Morgan's Hotel, which was we're right where Alonzo's Barbershop is now in Springdale. That area.
Right, exactly the same spot.
Yep, that's where that hotel was. Now that was a newer version, obviously. I remember being there, when I was a boy. Now,
Now, some of the industries in Springdale, there was more
Yeah.
than just hotels and stores and
yeah,
lumber.
indeed. Yeah, I believe there was something like 10 mink ranchers going on in Springdale at the time.
At one time, yeah.
Hmm.
With more people getting into it.
Yes, yeah, and that's when the first coal storage.
Yeah, they
Came
all got
to-
together and decided that they needed
Yeah.
some
And-
reliable source of food for all those mink.
There was also, we had a little chat about that earlier. Terry was saying that it was Brett's, was it you said, at a
No.
cold storage? Or Don Wheeler?
Don Wheeler had a coal storage.
Don Wheeler had a cold
Yeah.
storage. But I can remember one down to what we call Island Rock Cove. There was a cold storage down there, right at the end of the cove. So I don't know which one was first. But I can remember when England's put theirs into their warehouse as well. Because Ken and I used to go in and have a scattered ice cream. Brooksville used to use for storage. We just went in and checked the stock.
Check the stock,
Yeah.
inventory control, yeah.
Oh yes. And there's a picture here, well, of
That's the mink cages,
mink
yeah.
stock. There was, this guy looks like a Clark. Would that have been?
Well, I'm
Well-
assuming he's the same Clark as in the top picture there.
Okay, so he is a Clark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you should never assume, but
No, I know. We do a lot of assuming, and we get corrected a lot as well. Well, this final picture just shows.
Walter Clark, I got it correct.
Yeah, you.
Not Will Clark,
go-
Walter.
Okay.
Sorry. Walter
Anyway, we're back to the end of the movie.
Clark.
Springdale, Green Bay, Newfoundland. As you can see in the top of the picture, beauty spot of the north. And there's two very willing lads, or one is really willing for pictures.
Yeah.
And that's taken at the reserve, right? The
The
conservation
area
area.
up in
Yeah.
up in what's called
Indian
referred
Brook.
to as the brook. And you can see now this must be, I don't know if it would be the butts at a sawmill up there and still do it.
I've just noticing the lumber
There's
piled
lumber
up.
packed up behind. I don't know if it's far enough up for that or if it's too far up.
Yeah,
It's too far up, almost
It's-
to my thinking.
it is.
Where the mill is located now.
Yeah, this is more up to what we call the turnaround.
Yeah, right
Those
up
are-
where
yeah.
Wells and
Yeah.
yeah.
There was a trail though that there's people live inside of there, and there's a road goes in there that we used to take. Mom and my aunt used to take us there swimming just up around Mill Island. There's a beach up there, Beachy Cove. I guess maybe that's what it's called, Beachy Cove.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the end of our little presentation on the Atlantic Guardian, and we hope you enjoy it. And we'd love, Gary, it'd be nice for them to comment.
Yes, comments would be great, but,
Yeah.
and identify something that we've missed or
Tell us where we're wrong.
or misled somebody on. We don't really meaningly to mislead anybody, but nice little expose on Springdale back from the day back in '52. So
Yeah, I was 1 year old. I didn't see me anywhere there.
no,
Did you?
no.
I might have been in one of them stores.
Sure, you would have pointed it out if you were
Yeah.
there.
Right? Oh yes, I'd have been noticed. It's a wonder they never come to interview me.
It's as a
Right?
wonder. Yeah.
1 year old.
And you've got quite a pile of material on
Yeah.
Springdale prior to.
Well, my grandfather was Newfoundland Post and Telegraph operator in Springdale long before that, and he also was a photographer. He had at one point had a studio in Jackson's Cove, and I have quite an assortment of negatives and pictures that Paul Burt and myself developed. And maybe, if this catches on, maybe we'll do a little story on that, because I think we already put on one about that South
We
Ontario
did
Day.
some glass that was this.
One of the first we put on.
Yeah, because this show is not associated with CC3 channel that we
Not-
did years
no,
ago.
not then, no.
So this one's kind of like a little
Yeah.
bit off the beaten track, but we did do the one with the Knights Photography.
Yeah, right
on
on,
the CC3 one. So.
Anyway, thank you for watching, and it's over from me. And
Over from him.
okay.